Good morning, people from cloudy Barnsley. Today's video is going to be me explaining why all surveyors were not born equal. I've been on about this before, and we've had an inquiry. We're a few weeks ago, so we get inquiries all the time, email, and I answer people and give people advice, things like that. So this woman's contacted us, and they've had a survey done, and obviously they're wanting prices. Now, I'll not give any prices or out like that unless we've been out and done his own survey. Sometimes I'll do it. If they're big national companies and they've had them done, I'll have a look at it, and you can normally tell whether it's legit, whether the surveyor is a good surveyor, whether he knows what he's on with by reading it and getting a feel for it. So then we'll offer like 10% discount. So we'll say, well, we can do it, but we'll do it, we'll do it at 10% less, because they've normally got the prices not far off, these big national companies. So I've had a bit of back and forth with this woman, and this morning she sent me like a bit of a schedule, and it's the subfloor timbers. So there must be like a decent drop in subfloor, and you can get to it through cellar, and they're wanting some beams replacing, some timber beams replacing in this subfloor. Anyway, what she's done is she's put lengths at beams, and obviously whoever the surveyor is that's done it has given her like some kind of schedule of work. So then she sent it to me. On this schedule of work, it says to replace this beam, to wrap the ends with plastic DPM membrane, damp proofing membrane, and then a load of other stuff. So straight away alarm bells ring for me. That's bad practice. If you are if you are doing any courses at the PCA, if you're doing your technician's course, if you're doing your surveying course, you're told that this is bad practice. And when you think about it, you go, yeah, it is. So when you wrap a DPM around under a piece of timber, I've seen them fixed with staples, so then you're going through it anyway. But what that does inside, it creates what we call a tropical environment. So condensation forms inside that pocket and puts timbers at risk, because then timbers being hygroscopic, they'll absorb moisture. So because it's been wrapped, they'll absorb moisture. And if it gets over 20% wood moisture content, WMC, then it's at risk of wood-boring insect, and it's at risk of timber decay. What you're probably taking it out for in the first place. Now, she's just got back to me now, so I've just been to the sarnie shop, and I'm come to do this video, and my sarnie is getting cold. I've been to Birkinshaw's on Summer Lane, one of my regular haunts, and I've just looked at my email that she's replied to, and she told me which company it was, which is a large company that's got two companies that one owns other. I think you all know who it is, and I've mentioned them before, but I can't mention them by name because they're mangy fuckers and they get arse on. They've already grassed me up once, and I had to take a video down because they're just mangy. Do you know what I mean? They've got surveyors who... What I've said is everybody's got to start somewhere. And what these are doing is they're bringing in these surveyors that's just maybe just passed the exams and stuff, and then they're sending them out to site. Well, and they're not experienced, and they're making mistakes. So when people are sending me their surveys, I'm picking up on stuff, and I'm mentioning it on here, but I'm not mentioning them by name anymore. I've not actually never named a surveyor actually by name, but because I mentioned company, apparently they are a member. You're not supposed to talk about members in PCA by name, so I can't mention this nationwide company who had another company that got kicked out at PCA for bad selling practice. Oh no, it's not them. It's not them. No, that was Peter Cox, and they're owned by a company beginning with R. No, it's not them. It's that other nationwide company that work with a lot of wood, which is what surprised me even more, because they're named after some kind of wood, and yet they're putting in writing this procedure for this to be done when it's bad practice. And I was really surprised, not last year, I think it was, not last year, the year before, an independent surveyor who worked for PCA, he put some pictures up on a classroom in PCA, and I sent a message to him asking about it, and he took it down. He took this picture down, and then he said that he didn't know nothing about it, even though I messaged him and said to him, why have you let him do that? So what it was, I took a picture of this is them learning, apprentices at the offices, and he put a picture of them doing work, and they were putting joists in, and they'd wrapped all joists with a DPM. So I sent him a message, and I says, why are you wrapping joists with DPM? It's bad practice. And he sent me a message back saying that they'd not got any other materials. Because I said, why didn't you just paint it with dry base? Paint it with dry base, wedge them in place, allow air to flow around. Job's a good one. And he said, they'd not got no dry base, so we improvised. Well, I'm sorry, but you know what I mean? You're teaching them bad practice, so that they've improvised. So would you do that? Would you improvise bad practice because you ain't got any, other stuff in future? Instead of putting air bricks in, just put a normal air brick in, because you've got to lay somewhere. So instead of putting an air brick in, we'll just stick a normal brick in. We improvised, or we put a plastic Tupperware carton in because we got no air bricks, but we had to improvise. Or we just, do you know what I mean? How far do you go? And because he got found out, and listen, he's one of the top independent surveyors in country, probably the top and I learned loads off him. But once I called him out about it, he took photos straight down, and when PCA asked him about it, I don't know nothing about it, but I've still got messages. So that I sent to him. So this is what's happening. Do you know what I mean? If you're teaching apprentices bad practice just because you've got no other stuff, and I spoke to a national supplier about this last year. I think it was last year, and he said to me they've offered PCA materials. They'll give them as much as they want, but they've never got back to them and asked. So I don't know where they get the stuff from, but that is the best system to use. I don't know whether they still are telling them to do that, but it's, you know what I mean? It's bad practice. You shouldn't do it. They teach you not to do it. When I was doing my exams, it was like, no, you don't do that. It's bad practice. So I don't know what they're telling them now. I mean, all you do is paint end with a DPM, make sure that it's wedged, make sure air can get round it. So I'm just waiting to hear back from this woman. What I've said is, look, we need to do a survey. We'd have to come and have a look what's needed and do his own survey. Is she going to pay for 2 surveys? I doubt it. And listen, it was a generic text, generic email. You know, hi there. It went, good afternoon, Simon, or good afternoon, Damp Sam. It was, hi there. It obviously sent to every damp contractor around here to try and get cheapest price. So, but I just let her know that it was bad practice. Let her know that, you know, we know what we're on with. So I just thought I'd come on and just mention that. Not all surveyors are as good as each other. Some are more experienced than others. But everybody's got to start somewhere. But what you think is that once they've done the report, somebody older would read it, go through everything, and then say, you know, well, you've put that wrong. But they're not. I think they must be rushing because they've got that many surveys and reports to write. They're just sticking them straight out. We aren't even reading through them or whatever, or having them checked. And I'm only guessing. I'm guessing that it's a young surveyor. It might be an experienced one. And like I said, not all surveyors are as good as each other. Some are shit. And I know that because I get their reports sent to me. And I bang on about it all the time. And obviously there's a lot of people in PCA that don't fucking like it. You know what I mean? But because you're calling them out. And it's like I once got told when I joined that it was like an old boys club. That they all like to stick together and they like it to be people not to know how things are done because it takes work away from their companies and stuff. And I've been in over 10 years, and how I see it and that, you know what I mean. I'm getting to see that there is some people that are like that in there. 98% of people that's in there, brilliant, you know what I mean, and they do out fire. But there's a small percentage, and will the fuck they won't give they won't give a Rizzler if you needed one. Do you know what I mean? They're that tight. And I'll tell you a story about when I went to PCA one day. I'll tell you a story about one of twats that I had an argument with over waterproofing a fucking waterproofing a lift pit. Basically, I asked him, how do you waterproof a lift pit? And he said, oh, I can't tell you that. If I tell you that, I'll you know, everybody will be doing it and all this. And I'm like, fucking, so you're not going to tell me how you waterproof, how you do it? I mean, obviously I can try and make it up myself, but you're not going to tell me how you waterproof your thing is. And then while I were at one at dinners, somebody, one at suppliers who I use, said, he just uses our product. And I was like, is that all? So he just uses your product? Why didn't you tell me that? So, and then this year goes and does a fucking talk on fucking lift pits to everybody. Do you know what I mean? So that's how petty some members are. Yeah. And it's only a small percentage, but you know, basically they're fucking cunts. And I can't do with people like that. And there's a couple of others, and they know who they are. And I've been on about it before. So yeah. So that's kind of my experience with other surveyors. 99% alright, or 98% alright. There's a few absolute bellends, twats, and you know, they're so petty, and they want to. Obviously social media is getting big, and they're wanting to look as if you know, they're giving and letting people know how they do things. You know, I'll do a talk on it, I'll tell people how I've been doing it, but I'll not tell that cunt fucking damn Sam. I'll not tell him because he's asked me. You know what I mean? I put everything on YouTube. We show people how we do everything. Why not? Do you know what I mean? I'm transparent. It's because I've probably not had in the sun this year. No, I'm transparent. I'll show people how we do things, and I have done. There's no secrets. But not everybody wanted it to be like that, because they're not getting enough money. They want it to be. It's specialised and it's this. But what's happened is companies like Wickham and Safeguard, they've fetched products out where anybody can do it. Now, anybody can do it, but are they doing it right? That's where it comes in. So, you know, DIY people might do it. Can they guarantee it? No. Are they treating right types of damp? Probably not. Do you know what I mean? So they'll fetch a system out, like obviously express damp proofing system. So they fetch that out, piece of piss to put in for rising damp, you know, to stop rising damp. But most people are just putting it in, even when they've got condensation, black mould, penetrating damp, high ground levels, sulfate salts, because they can't diagnose these different types of damp, but they're just sticking it in. A bit like that company whose job that we did last week, where whose job I surveyed on Monday, who said it were rising damp, and it fucking wasn't. It was a low level damp due to cold spots and condensation forming above physical DPC. But this twat in Barnsley, he just says everything's rising damp, acts it off 1.20 and drills and injects everything. And then when condensation forms on it again, he's not answering the phone calls then. So that's me this morning. I'm going to get my signing now. So I hope you've learnt something. And I hope you have a brilliant day. All you who like to get some knowledge from me, I hope you've learnt something today, and about timber and all that kind of stuff, and that not all surveyors were born equal, but everybody has to start somewhere, and you will learn more mistakes that you make. But can you afford to make mistakes like that when you're working for a nationwide company who's, you know, got a good name? I don't know. Right, so that's Damp Sam. Have a brilliant rest of your day. Bye-bye now.